Hey, what's up guys? Little man with a big opinion here. In today's video, I'm going to discuss what I have written down when it comes to choosing a bug out location. And this is not for the people that either already live where they plan on staying, i.e. you've got the land and the resources. And this isn't for the people that have purchased that. Maybe they live in a city, but, they plan on dipping out to the country when all hell breaks loose. These are for the people that you're new to prepping, so you maybe haven't purchased land or have a place to bug out to. Or it's the type of people you don't plan on that. You plan on making your home your last stand, and if you lose your castle, then this is your bug out location. Or your risk tolerance dictates it's time to dip out. Where am I going? In that transit period, even if you have a location to go to, you're a glorified refugee. You're most likely only going to be able to take what's on your back, and wherever you're getting to, you're going to have to set up and start shop all over again over there. Sorry, got a phone call. Anyway, the criteria for your bug out locations is they got to have some sort of water source. You can go on the low end and set up some sort of catchment system with tarps and buckets and stuff, but you got to bring that stuff in with you. Security needs to be a big factor. There needs to be abundant sources of food, and what I mean by that is something to tide you over, typically hunting and fishing, until you can establish your farm / garden. And then lastly, just other sources to think about. Building materials. You want to be as far away from other people as you can possibly get. But as people watch this video and other prepping videos, you're not going to be the only person thinking about this, but you already having this planned out is better than having to come up with it, in your stressful situation. And so my major source of bug out locations come from state and national parks. Your smallest two, from what I looked up, is like a 40-acre and a 90-acre plot, but it's the Archway in St. Louis and some park in DC. I'd knock those two out. They're in urban areas. But your smallest national park that is a decent location is actually Hot Springs in Arkansas at 8.9 square miles. So pretty decent amount of land. The 7 biggest are in Alaska, but if you're already in Alaska, I'd say you got a pretty nice bug out location there. But your next biggest is Yellowstone. I wouldn't consider the desert ones, but there's a few of those that are pretty big. But most of these national parks have water sources. They have abundant resources. And what I mean by that is typically there's no hunting on them, except special permits. And it's mostly just to deal with, excessive predator or dealing with the excessive prey, so the predator population doesn't, run rampant and then kill off most of the prey. And then you've got a mass, you have too many predators, not enough prey, and there's a mass die-off. Typically they're run by National Forest Service, you know, parks and wildlife within each state, and they do a pretty good job on that. You'll most likely have to deal with other people either already vacationing there or other people knowing those are vast sources of resources there, and they'll go there as well. So when you choose your state or national park, you also want to think about security. I've always made the suggestion, whatever major city you plan on going, or you live in, or you live close to, you want to get at least half a gas tank away from it. Half a gas tank is going to be anywhere from 100 to 200 miles away, depending on what you're driving. And that's at a minimum. That's how far you want to get away. My bigger suggestion is a full gas tank away. And that's why you got fuel storage and you keep your car no lower than 3/4 of a tank at all times. It's a good thing to plan for, especially if you get stuck on a highway because of a snowstorm. But when you get to said national park, you're not going to chill out, in their designated camping areas. You still want to get off the beaten path. Some of these parks are big enough that you could get, half a day or more into the backcountry. And that should be your goal. You're already driving as far away from big urban and metropolitan areas as you can. But once you get to these locations, you want to hide yourself even more. So a half day's walk can be anywhere from 5 to 10 miles. So, hot springs, a little too small to get that deep into it. But some of these bigger ones that are in the hundreds of square miles, thousands of square miles, or even, let's see, I saw Yellowstone on here. Let's scroll up. Yellowstone is 2.21 million acres. You got to deal with, the whole volcano and stuff. So maybe not pick Yellowstone. Another bug out location option can be, islands off of the U.S. coast, but a boat's got to be involved. You got to worry about storms, and there might be inhabitants on said islands. But outside of state and national parks, we also just have national forests. I don't know if we have state forests. Maybe some of them do. But the national forests, they run pretty similarly to state parks, except they don't really have a lot of the camping options and the scenic stuff that state parks have. They're just, large swaths of forest that we're trying to, keep there. Same general idea, at least half a car's worth of gas away, and then get off the beaten path. You almost want to get yourself lost out there. And this will help with, your cooking food, the smell, the fire, the smoke. You're making noise with your hunting. You're making noise with your, continuing of some semblance of your daily life. And you want to set it up pretty well. The reason why people have bug out locations is that's where they want to store most of their supplies already. So it's just, your bug out bag and getting to that location and already having your head start with food and shelter and security and all those sort of things. But if it is, the matter of life and death and you don't have a bug out location, those are my top choices. If you don't want to go to a state national park or national forest, then your other best bet without spending money to get your own bug out location is having friends or family that have already, they own land. That's, they might not have considered that a bug out location, but if you're a prepper and they're not, establish that trust, introduce them to prepping, and if the trust level is there, or the family tie is there, then at some point in that trust relationship that you're building, you need to throw out the idea of turning that into y'all's bug out location. And the big benefit of that over a state or national park is obviously being able to store resources there, have a shelter set up, but it's also strength in numbers. So having friends or family that can, already have the financial burden of the land, a 10-person group is better than a 5-person group. A 5-person group is better than 3. 3 is better than 2. 2 is better than 1. The saying when it comes to certain things is 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So strength in numbers. If you're both prepping, then you both have axes, you both have, water catchment and purification systems, and that's your third option. So number one option is becoming self-reliant on your own, because if you can take care of yourself, then for one, you're not waiting on the government and their limited resources and red tape and all that other thing coming to help you. 2, I think it's a big sense of pride knowing that you've taken the leap to take care of yourself and your family. Because if you have a family, it really shouldn't be about, pride in knowing you can take care of them. It should be an obligation. And you might have to, repair some family ties and get that situated. Obviously, some family issues can't be solved, and I'm not gonna push you to fix abusive relationships or anything like that, but when it comes to survival, having your family around can make it easier for you, and there's a pretty nice comfort level in being able to rely on parents, kids, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and some people in that situation might not be able to take care of themselves, and you as the prepper have stepped up and filled in that goal. But with that, what are your other options for bug out locations? Obviously some are going to be better than others. They're going to have pros and cons for each of them. It essentially comes down to the risks that you are willing to take. What can you tolerate and not tolerate? And with that, leave your comments down below. I know Mr. Flambeau is a friend of mine, so he comments on a lot of these things. But there's like 139 of you subscribed and about 200 views per video I put up. So I'd like to hear from more than just 1 or 2 people. And with that, like, subscribe, hit the bell after you've subscribed, because you never know when I'm going to release a video. And I'll catch you in the next one.